Hey everyone, it's the Lux Oracle. How are you guys doing today? This beautiful Monday in October. It's my birthday month. Hey. So I wanted to pop in. I wanted to talk about a few things actually. Some of it I'm not gonna cover in this video. But I wanted to talk about a lot of people are very up in arms about the political climate in the United States, right? And y'all know I really don't get super emo about politics for multiple reasons. Probably because I am an astrologer, right? And I see that these things happen, and these things happen in cycles. If you want proof of that, you can go check out my Uranus in Gemini video, which is here on the channel, and I talk about how everything that happened the last time Uranus was in Gemini in the United States and what that pretty much means for us now. But today I want to talk to you guys about Black women and labor and about our space in corporate America. I've actually talked about this before when I was actually in the thick of corporate America, in the thick of the swamp that is corporate America. Okay. And how it can be very, very challenging for Black women in these spaces that we tend to enter in corporate America. Of course, there's always those dichotomies, you know, there's always those like exceptions, those people that, you know, some of whom went to my alma mater and have very, very, very high roles at very, very, very big Fortune 500 companies. Nevertheless, a lot of women, Black women specifically, deal with a lot of racism and sexism, as far as women of color is concerned in the workplace. All right, most women deal with sexism in the workplace, so it's already really a toxic environment that you're kind of, I don't want to say you're forced to be there, because I'm going to tell you why you don't have to be there in this video. But you know, most women feel like they have to be there. They have to work in these places. And I'm not gonna, like, no cap. This is why there's so many women that are talking about living a soft life in reference to having a man take care of them, because they don't want to work in these hostile ass environments. Like, that's really, people is like, get me out of here, because it's hot, you know, it's hostile. And at one point, so I've dealt with this personally multiple times. So this comes from personal experience as well. And, you know, I have a Substack article I want y'all to check out where I talk about this, you know, in writing, to kind of help you to deeper understand. I mean, if you're a Black woman, you probably already understand. But there was a time where I thought it was just me, where I was like, dang, why do I keep having these specific problems on these jobs? And if you're pretty, definitely stay tuned to this video, because they will treat you even funnier if you're pretty. So I'll talk about some of the microaggressions that we commonly experience. I'll just brush through it real quick. So being beautiful, to other non-melanated people in the office, you are automatically seen as a threat as a Black woman, because I'm not gonna say if, but being beautiful is a threat to a lot of people, even outside of workplaces. So you at work and you find like there is a level of intimidation that comes with that, because a lot of people are just naturally insecure. So if you're pretty and you're confident, you can just be pretty and not be confident. That's enough. But if you're pretty and confident, it's like a double whammy. I have also seen it to where you dress nice, people talk smack about you, or, you know, you're doing too much. I've also seen it where people they like getting you in trouble. Like, they're constantly telling the manager, oh, she did this, oh, she was late from lunch, or oh, she was outside doing this. Constantly, it's like everyone's always watching you and reporting things back to management. I have even dealt with this when working in Black-owned spaces. Shout out to the Scorpio energy. People always watching your ass, and people always like being obsessed with you and shit. There's that. Then there is, I know I've been accused of things that once I escalated it to HR and I busted out paperwork, it was proven that the person had lied and or fabricated the complaint that they made against me, which was crazy. Like, I literally saw, and this is another thing with these spaces, like, if you're going to be in these spaces, which I don't recommend, but I'm just going to tell you, if you're going to be in these spaces especially as an entry-level employee, but even if you're mid-level to high, you really have to be on top of your spiritual stuff. And that's something that I did not learn. I didn't know it was such a toxic environment going into the workplace. Like, I didn't know you had to, like, basically pray your way through just to get through there, because there's so much toxicity in there. And I'm talking about microaggressions. Let me stay focused on my topic. Microaggressions. One of the main things that I know I've dealt with, and I've heard from other Black women as well, because this is the thing, I'm in several different spaces where there are Black professional women from all types of, that was a bottle of lotion. They're up from all types of, high level. I mean, some of them have doctorate degrees. I'm trying to get rid of something here. Some of them have doctorate degrees, and they still deal with this type of stuff at work. Mistreatment and being talked down to. And it's not from the general public. It's from internal. It's from where they work. So what I was talking about, the microaggressions, one of the big things is you not socializing. So you can be introverted. You could have been put on game by another Black person and say, when you go in there, don't try to make no friends. Just put your head down. Just do your work. Because that is a lesson that we get, right? A lot of times. Because of the level of discrimination that we deal with as Black women in the workplace. So you go in there and you do that. And then you get in trouble. I literally got written up for this. Actually, I had a raise withheld from me, and I was written up for this. Because I didn't socialize with everybody. And my job was it wasn't a social job. I barely even used the phone at my job. Okay. It was strictly computer, Excel, the system that our company used, and just getting it in. Like, it was the perfect job for me as an introvert, actually. And when I tell you, them folks was like, why are you not talking? And why are you this? And it's crazy because I had other coworkers who didn't do their job. They didn't work. And so in that particular situation, which I can share, the little bit that I can share, what happened is I stuck up for myself. And in this situation, HR backed me up, because I had documentation to prove that I was doing my job and I was exceeding the quotas that were being asked of me. And I was able to pull the data to compare it to my coworkers. And I just was like, my job doesn't require me to talk at all. I attend meetings and I participate in meetings, but my job literally doesn't require me to talk. So why am I being penalized for this? And HR was all over it. And when I tell you, I was so appalled, because this was the first time ever for me that I saw a male be, he was demoted from his position. Not only was he no longer my manager, he was no longer a manager. I was appalled. But one of the crazy things is, and when I tell people this story, is my Black coworkers that I thought were cool, which is, my bad for even talking to them. But they told me that I was overreacting. And they were just like, well, if you go to HR, they ain't gonna do nothing. Like, so that's another thing. When they be mistreating Black women and Black people on these jobs, a lot of times they don't do anything because they already know you're not gonna do anything. You're not gonna go to EEOC. Some of y'all won't even file for unemployment. You won't do anything. And there's stuff that you can do. And I'm gonna have to teach you guys about this in a private class. Stay to the end. There's things you can do to handle these companies, and some of those things do involve you suing them. Okay, that's not out of the realm. Okay, but there's other things that you can do to get what you need to get, and EEOC is one of those places. It's kind of tricky dealing with them sometimes, but they are there for a reason, and I have seen people be compensated and rewarded for reporting, not necessarily reporting, but like I guess I say reporting the mistreatment that they dealt with on their job or whatever, because it was just flat out wrong. People think it has to be like SH, like harassment or something like that. People think it has to be somebody touched you inappropriately or somebody directly called you a racial term to your face. It don't always have to be that. Like, if somebody been running to HR about you, trying to get you fired, and maybe at some point you do get fired, but you got proof that they was doing that, like, that's just an example. There's multiple examples. But there is stuff you can do to, like, again, being in these spaces, you really have to keep your head on a swivel. You have to keep documentation. There's literally a lady who has a whole channel. It's a black lady, and she used to work her HR. Give me just a second. She used to work her HR, and she literally has a whole channel about helping black people, but the majority of her audience is women, navigate the tepid waters of, not tepid because I think that means soft, but the raging waters of corporate America. And that's part of the problem. It's a fly in here. That's part of the problem is we have told black women that just go get a degree or just go get 3 degrees. And now I'm seeing this in groups. I'm seeing this on social media. Black women like crashing out. Like, why is it so hard to get a job? Why can't I get a job? What am I going to do? Oh my God. And everyone's panicking. And I get why you're panicking, right? Because you have been told, you have been programmed that you need a job to make money. And or you're like, I don't want to own a business, or I don't think that's something that I can do because that's going to cost me money and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's very few people who are going to get rich working a job anyway. Okay, I'm just here to tell you that. But truthfully, the way black women are and the way we are and the way we do things, and particularly, I'll even niche it down even more. Millennial black women, the way that we have really been gaslit into thinking that there was going to be, jobs and stuff for us. And we keep going back to school for more and more degrees and all the other type of stuff. Like, on the cool, you're going to have to, and I really do mean this, you're going to have to start a business. And that's the hard part for some of y'all. Some of y'all think it has to be a corporation and you got to buy a building and that your LLC is going to cost you $1,000. That is inaccurate. It's not that hard. And that's the thing. So I have started several businesses. Like I started my first business in 2013, I believe. And I've started multiple businesses since then. And because of who I am and my makeup, and I mean makeup, and I mean like my human design, my astrology, because I believe in astrology for real, but I believe in human design to a degree. It has been helpful for me. When I look at those things and then I look at reality, the 3D that I'm looking at, my body, how I think, my interests and stuff like that, it's just very hard for me. Not impossible, but it has been very challenging for me to be in some of those spaces. So what happened is I actually got laid off from a laboratory in 2013, about a year after I graduated from college. And I really was just like, what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do? To make a long story short, I was actually seeing somebody, ironically, they were a Capricorn. If you know anything about astrology, it just makes sense to you. And they were just like, why don't you start a business? And I'm just like, well, I want to start one, but I don't think I have what I need. And it was actually this Capricorn that kind of pushed me to start my business. And ironically, this person is actually a farmer now and has their own business. But they were a child of entrepreneurs and a grandchild of entrepreneurs, and they just had it in their blood. And I wanted to do it. Like, it wasn't that I wanted to do. And they really gave me that push. Okay, so I started my business from there. And I'm not going to sit up here and say that this was easy for me. And that's part of why, because this is, 12 years ago? 12 years ago, I can really give you a lot of game because I've done this multiple times and I've failed and learned enough to really know how to help you go from, okay, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do, or I want to do this, but I don't know how I'm going to do it or how I'm going to get clients, to actually starting a business. So I started the business and I had that business for a year, but it evolved very quickly. in about 18 months into an herbal business. And I took some classes and I learned more, but this is around the time I began training in herbalism and women's health. And so I ended up starting this business, which ended up evolving, ended up including my doula services, and then ended up becoming another brand, or actually I ended up stopping that business and starting another brand that was completely, it was 100% spiritual. I started my spiritual brand 4 years after that, maybe 5 years after that. And then I've been doing that up until now, in addition to 2 other businesses that I have started that I talk about a little bit online, but I don't really talk about all the time. But it was a masculine process, masculine foundation, I'll say, for my feminine to rest on. And what I mean by that is when I hear people talk about like, girl, you know, I just want to sleep and get paid, or I just want to wake up and have money in my account. I just want to do this. Yeah, if you build the foundation of a business, you can do that. And I don't know why people think it's so hard. It's really not that hard at all. So anyways, I said all that to say, the only way out is in. You're going to have to start businesses. Look, this is not cap. LinkedIn has already stated, they've already done statistics, and they said by 2030 that 70% of people or more are going to be freelancers. You're going to have your business set up. You're going to have an EIN number. You're going to have your DUNS. And I highly advise you having your business credit, because that's one of the ways you can get a free fucking computer or a free device or free supplies. And they're not free. You do have to pay for them, but you get a 30-day, sometimes a 60-day or a 90-day net time to actually pay for this stuff, because you built your business credit. And I mean, I paid $0 to build my business credit. Like, this stuff is not hard. This is just really a result of me bumping my head, right? Learning lessons and researching. You know, y'all know I'm a Scorpio. I'm researching a lot and figuring out how to do some of these things. Like when I tell people that I have, you know, a DNA testing business, they be like, oh my God, how did you do that? And when I'm like, girl, this wasn't even hard. This was literally easier than me starting my herbal business. This was easier than me starting my spiritual business, you know. So yeah. So anyways, I said all that to say, the jobs is gone. I know it's hard and it's harsh, but the jobs are like gone. Okay, they're leaving. They're gone and they're leaving. So you're going to have to start a business of some sort, some type of freelance. And I don't want to call it a side hustle. It needs to be something that you can eat off of. And I said all that to say, you know, there have been times where if I did not have my business, I'll just say this, the money from my business has sustained me while not being conventionally employed multiple times. I mean, I'm talking about, dang, I got a $120 bill. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. And then literally somebody books $120 something. And I'm like, oh my God. Because, like, issue was real. But I didn't have a job to fall. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a job to fall back on. Some of these times I was pregnant. So I was like physically unable to actually do some of this stuff. Child, this eyelash is like doing the most. I think I'm gonna go get another set. Anyway, so I said all that to say, like, you have to start a business. You have to. And I'm not a discriminator on what type of business that you should start. I'm not one of those type of people. But I have done a lot of things. I've done a lot of things legal. I've done a lot of things. And I've tried out a lot of different things, and I know what worked best for me are things that work with my human design and work with my astrology. And I know that I work best working for myself. There is a learning curve. If you have an employee mindset, there is a learning curve. There are some things you're going to have to learn, some things that you're going to have to, you know, get the energy up to do. And you may find that you enjoy some of that stuff. Like, I know at one point when I was doing my books and stuff, sometimes like I would like do my calculations. I actually enjoyed sitting down doing some of that stuff. I would just give me something to eat, put on a TV show, and I would sit down and I would calculate my numbers. It wasn't stressful for me. For some people, that's stressful for them, but you can always hire somebody. And so if we, again, Black women, we build our own financial ecosystem. Like, I don't even want to talk about it too much. I don't even know what could happen. But I kind of know what could happen. But that is really the only way out. And I know a lot of people are sad and they're just like, where, you know, oh my God, please God help me. And that's another reason why on my Substack I talk about Black women getting out of this religious psychosis, because no, you're going to have to ground yourself. You're going to have some spiritual practices that are not about doom and gloom. I'm not going to go into that right now. That's a whole nother video. And you're going to have to buckle down and you're going to have to start your own business. I know it's scary. I know. I hear people say all the time, oh, I'm scared to go on live. I don't know what you're going to do, boo. I really don't know what you're going to do. Oh, girl, I mean, I started it. I took the class to get certified, but I didn't. Why? You know, so if you need a little fire under your behind, if you are ready to move forward, but you don't know what to do, I am teaching a class, Labor to Legacy. Labor to Legacy, okay? This is the Freedom Business Lab, okay? Freedom to Legacy, the Freedom Business Lab. You need to come into the class, okay? If you need to pay it for, we got that option for you, okay? But Labor to Legacy, this course is going to teach you everything that you need to know to start a business, okay? Where do I go to file my business? I got you on it. How do I get business credit? I got you on it. How do I get clients? I got you on that. You need to know what businesses are best for your human design, what businesses are best. We got you. It's really nothing. Are you going to start the business though? Because there's really no point in even signing up if you're not going to start the business. Okay, so this is for people who are like, okay, 2025 is my last year broke. This is my last year sitting back looking at everybody else with their business, everybody else promoting their business. I just been sitting here playing games. And some of y'all have resources where you shouldn't not, you should have a business. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't want to say anything that is incriminating or bad. But some of y'all have resources, free resources, that you should have another source of income besides a job. Not even in a just in case type of way. It's just like, who are you outside of this job? Like, that's another thing. I know people, this is part of why them getting fired fucks them up so bad, is like their whole identity is in the job. Their whole identity is in the job, in the career. And so, or being able to say, I have a master's in this. And no shade to that, because baby, I'm about to get mine too. Okay? No shade to none of that. But there are ways that you can pivot and position yourself to where you can get paid for that master's degree. Like, it's so many women, they don't even know how to get government contracts. I got you on that in the class. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. How do I get a government contract? We're going to talk about that in the class. Because some of them paying out $400K if you know how to do it right. Like, so what are you waiting on? You're watching other people. What are you waiting on? It's time to do it. I have a friend, and I ain't even going to I ain't going to roast her. But she's been talking about one particular business thing for like 5 years. And I'm like, sis, you've had 5 years that you could have been building a brand. 5 years, people could have known you as the whatever lady, the Yoni Steam lady, the girl who do the nails, the girl who make earrings, the girl who does marketing, the lady. I don't want to call y'all girls because y'all grown, but you know what I'm saying. Like, you have it, and you're not here in this universe, in this world, on this planet, in this country, in this place where if there are not going to be jobs, right? They're not going to be jobs for real. There's going to be basically contracts and 1099 opportunities or whatever. If the whole job market is going to shift, you really think you're just not going to have nothing? You think you're going to be just living under a bridge somewhere? No. You're either going to be working under someone else that decided that they were going to start their own business, or you're going to have your own business. That's really just the two things. And if you're tired of working for people and you don't want to be at the helm of someone else. There's a certain level of discipline that you definitely have to cultivate, which we'll talk about in the class as well. Because we're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about the spiritual and we're going to talk about the tangible as far as growing your business. But you are just going to have to get to a place to where you want your freedom enough to where you're willing to live differently so that you can have what you want. And I'm not talking about downsizing your lifestyle to have what you want. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying something has to shift now, or you're not going to have the options that you have right now. Okay. And I'm not a business coach. I do follow a couple of them, and a lot of them have been talking about this, especially when LinkedIn came out with that statistic. But I've always felt this, and some of y'all be like this, like, girl, I just can't do it. I just can't do the jobs. And I'm saying all of this to say all of this is happening for a reason. You're here at this time. You're going to be living during this time where this economic shift is where people are going to be mainly working for themselves. Most people are entrepreneurs. You're going to be living during that time. So there's a reason for that. There is something that you're supposed to be doing during that time, if you're still here in 2030. Okay? 2027 to 2030 really is when it's really going to take off. Some of y'all scared to use AI. And oh my God. Some of y'all, I'll be like, girl, why don't you just... So, but I'm going to help y'all with that. Because it's really, to be honest with you, not only is this a good time to start a bit, well, really, you should have already started a business. I'm not even going to cap on with that. But there are so many tools right now that this is one of the easiest times to start. This is like one of the easy, like, bro, like, this is like, tap in. Tap in. So, yes. So, Labor to Legacy, we are going to start, I like 10, 20, but I'm thinking maybe 10, 22. I'm thinking about starting this class. But yes, I'm going to put all the information below of when the class, once I post this video, the information for when the class is going to start is going to be in the description. So you can see there when the class is going to be, and I'll also pin it in the comments. When the class is going to be, because yeah, I really want y'all to get out of this space of being so dependent on these jobs, because if you go and read my Substack article, you'll see like really you're upholding the capitalism and the patriarchy. You're upholding these systems that you are saying are oppressing you for $1. And I think one of the big lessons with this economic shift is knowing your worth, because a lot of people base their worth on where they work. And now with that being stripped from a lot of people, it's like, well, what do I do? Who am I? You know, what do I do next? And it's like, yeah, you got to really dig in there and you got to really see what you're fucking made of now. That almighty God that you say, you know, never is so faithful. You got to really put him or her to work. And people don't be knowing how to do that. Because that security has always come through a job. And so spiritually, as someone who's spiritual and an entrepreneur, I'm telling you, a lot of it's a very spiritual process. And sometimes you need somebody's hand to walk you through it, especially if you do not know what you're doing. I did a lot of this shit by myself. I did a lot of this shit with no AI. Okay, I did this before you could just hop on Squarespace and make a website. As easy as it is now. Now it's like super easy. It didn't used to be that easy. It used to be very, very complicated to build an e-commerce website. And I did that on my own in my 20s by myself. Is it this hand or this finger? I don't know. Okay, so look. But anyways, y'all, being silly. Okay, so, but yeah, so I want you guys to sign up for my class. We're going to start before November. Like, it's time to get the bands. The holidays are coming up. Really, we're really low-key behind because, I mean, Q4 staring us in the face. So But that's not the point. The point is, what you do, what you put effort in, will bless you. It will bless you, and it will feed back to you. And you have to also, this is another message just came, you also have to stop being afraid to invest in yourself. That is one of the things that's going to hold a lot of people back in this time. If they're not already building their own business and building up their own personal brand and whatnot, not investing in yourself is like the worst thing you could do right now. I mean, the absolute worst thing you could do right now. And I'm not saying you got to take my class. I'm saying, if you don't have the skills that you need to move forward, if you don't know how to trade, that's a really good skill to learn. If you don't know how to write an ebook, you know, if you don't know how to do, how to self-publish, speaking of books, if you don't know how to do some of this stuff, like, I don't even know what to say. I self-published by myself. Was I working at the time? I might not have had a job then when I self-published my own first book. Look, again, I've been doing this for a while. So anyway, I'm gonna invite y'all out to class. Tentative start date is 10/20. And yes, let's do this. Labor to legacy, instead of, you know, us crying and being sad. I've been in that space before, so I get it, but the only way through this is to step into and to stay in a sovereign space where someone else can't rock your boat. And the really only way for a woman to do that is to start her own business. So I'm inviting y'all out. Thank y'all for tuning in with me and doing this video, or listening to this video. Oh my God, I think I'm delirious. But listening to this video and hanging out with me today. And I hope that you all have a beautiful Monday. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I hope you guys have an amazing fall. Please check out my Substack. The information will be in the description below. And peace. Y'all have a good rest of your week.